Welcome to Strategic Faultline, where geography shapes power. Today, we examine why tiny Pacific islands are becoming missile ranges, sensor hubs, and strategic positions in the new space race. A small island can look irrelevant on a world map. It may have no large army, no major city, and no obvious role in global power. But military geography does not work by population alone. It works by position, distance, access, line of sight, and the ability to place sensors, antennas, command nodes, and test ranges in the right location. That is why remote Pacific islands matter. They sit inside an ocean so large that distance itself becomes a strategic asset. For decades, the Pacific was often discussed through naval routes, air bases, island chains, and carrier groups. Now another layer has become impossible to ignore. Space. Not space as a distant frontier, but space as a military system connected to the ground. Every satellite needs to be launched, tracked, commanded, protected, or replaced. Every long-range missile test needs a safe corridor, a target zone, telemetry, radar coverage, and political access. So the new space race is not only about rockets leaving Earth. It is about the places on Earth that make space power usable. Kwajalein Atoll in the Republic of the Marshall Islands shows the pattern clearly. To a casual observer, it is a remote atoll in the Central Pacific. To the United States military, it is part of a wider architecture for missile testing, re-entry measurement, missile defense, and space surveillance. That geography is not incidental. It is the reason the location matters. A missile can cross the Pacific and be observed as it returns through the atmosphere. Radar systems can collect data on speed, trajectory, breakup, decoys, and impact. The land is small. The range around it is enormous. The strategic value is the volume of ocean and sky that the island helps observe. In the new language of space and missile competition, territory also means sensor coverage, orbital awareness, telemetry, range safety, and access to empty space over empty ocean. But the equipment is only one part of the system. The United States also needs agreements, infrastructure, logistics, host nation cooperation, and the ability to keep rivals away from the same strategic geography. In the Marshall Islands, the Compact of Free Association gives the United States exclusive access to defense sites. That is not a legal footnote. It is part of the military map. Because if geography shapes power, then access to geography shapes who can use that power. Tiny islands matter because they connect missiles, sensors, diplomacy, space, and military reach into one system. If this analysis is useful, support Strategic Faultline with a like and subscribe. It helps keep these reports clear, focused, and independent. The second layer is space domain awareness. Modern space is crowded. There are military satellites, commercial satellites, old rocket bodies, debris fragments, and objects that can maneuver in orbit. Knowing what is above the Earth, where it is going, and whether it is behaving normally has become a military requirement. This is where Kwajalein again becomes important. The Space Fence Radar, located on Kwajalein, was declared operational by the United States Space Force in 2020. Its mission is not to launch rockets. Its mission is to help track objects in orbit. That may sound technical, but it changes the balance of information. A country that can see more objects in space, with greater precision and persistence, can better protect its satellites, detect unusual behavior, and understand what an adversary may be doing. In a crisis, that information matters. If satellites support targeting, communications, missile warning, and navigation, then losing awareness in orbit means losing part of the battlefield. This is why space is no longer separated from geography. The radar is on Earth. The object is in orbit. The military effect is across the theater. The Pacific Island becomes a node in a global sensor network. That network is now more important because major powers are preparing for conflict in a space-enabled world. China has invested in space systems, counter-space capabilities, long-range missiles, and the ability to fight under conditions where satellites are contested. The result is a military environment where space assets are valuable, vulnerable, and central to deterrence. In that environment, a remote island with the right location becomes part of the warning system, part of the test range, and part of the deterrent. There is also a third layer, distance. The Pacific is difficult because it is vast. For the United States, operating across the Pacific means sustaining forces over thousands of miles. For China, pushing farther into the Pacific means moving through surveillance networks, allied positions, island chains, and the problem of being observed. Remote islands sit inside that distance. They can support radars, communications, emergency runways, maritime awareness, or test infrastructure. Not every island needs to become a major base. The more important pattern may be distributed power. Many small nodes, spread across a vast ocean, can be harder to neutralize than one large facility. They create redundancy, complicate targeting, and provide options when larger bases are threatened. This is why the Pacific is becoming a geography of nodes, not just bases. The new space race, then, is not only a race to build more rockets. It is a race to control the infrastructure around space. Tracking sites matter. Missile ranges matter. Radars, data links, antennas, undersea cables, and political agreements matter. And in the Pacific, that infrastructure often depends on small pieces of land surrounded by enormous water. This creates a strategic paradox. The islands are physically vulnerable, but strategically valuable. They are also home to real communities, with their own histories and interests. A great power cannot treat access as automatic forever. That is why tiny Pacific islands now matter in the new space race. They are part of the machinery that connects Earth to orbit, missiles to sensors, alliances to deterrence, and geography to power. The island may be small. The strategic system around it is not. In the next phase of competition, the decisive terrain may be a radar on an atoll, a missile range surrounded by empty water, or a political agreement that decides who can place equipment where the sky, the sea, and military power meet. Power does not only come from the rocket. It comes from the ground beneath the sensor, the ocean beneath the range, and the geography that makes both useful. If this report helped clarify the issue, subscribe to Strategic Faultline and share your view in the comments. The next report will follow another pressure point in global power.